What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Monday Challenge. Today on the Monday Challenge, we're going to be making a DIY music video. I made a very similar video about a couple years ago. I took a song from Epidemic sound and made the music video all by myself. I was in it, and that's basically what we're doing today. And not only is this a challenge that I'm going to do, but I'm going to challenge the rest of you guys to do as well. We'll talk all about how to enter later on, but just to kind of sum it up, you need to make a music video using a song from Epidemic sound, and Epidemic sound is going to give away prizes for first and second place. Last time I did this, it was for a hip-hop song and basically was just performance with some B-roll. And we're going to do a performance video with some B-roll again, but this time to kind of switch it up, we're going to do a rock song. Now, if you're going to enter this challenge, you don't need to do a performance video. You can create a story. Like I said, we'll talk all about that stuff later, but I just wanted to preface that, like, you don't have to perform and be in the video and all that stuff. You could create a short film that's a music video if you wanted to do that. So, you know, this is a song that I've been wanting to do this idea kind of for a while. So I already had it picked out. I had it saved in a playlist somewhere. But if you browse around on Epidemic Sound, they have tons of different genres, you know, hip hop, electronic, rock, you name it. It's all there. And something that I really like that I did last time and I'm doing this time as well is that you can download the stems to the song. So I'm actually going to shorten the song up a bit just because this is just for practice. I don't need to do the whole song. And since you have the stems, it makes it a lot easier to use transition points from the song from different instruments and create a shorter track. All right, so we have our song all picked out. We want to shoot the band shots first, see how that turns out with some video effects to see if we even need the B-roll. So for the performance shots, it's just all going to be silhouetted with the red lights. So we will kill the house lights when we end up shooting. For the video, we're going to be shooting on the Canon C200 in RAW. Going to be shooting at 60 frames per second. The reason we're going to shoot at 60 is just in case we want to slow down the footage. Also, with band stuff, because you are shooting at a higher frame rate, you are shooting at a higher shutter speed, if you will. So because of that, there's a little less motion blur, and it's just more crisp when there are, like, you know, movements and stuff when the band members are moving. The band members, by the way, are just Justin and I. Just 3 lights, pretty simple. 2 young nuos, just set to the red setting. And then back here we have the 120D with a red gel on it and just some clothespins to clamp the gel onto the Fresnel. So we have a light modifier on the 120D, which is a Fresnel, and that just creates a spotlight. It's going to be directionalized in on the subject so that it's giving that nice harsh backlight. And then we are going to use a little bit of a haze fog machine type deal just so we can get those light rays coming through, especially like through the drums and all that stuff. So we've done some test shots already, and I'm very stoked on how it's looking. Back to the C200. For the most part, probably going to stick to handheld. We will throw it on the tripod maybe here and there with the 70-200 on it just to try and get some tight shots. But for the most part, gonna stick to handheld just because of the type of video it is. It's a gritty rock song. We're gonna try and stay smooth with our movements, not too shaky. But I love like handheld stuff. That's kind of like synonymous to the King Wolf creative music video style. We may try and throw it on a gimbal, we may not. We'll see how it goes.
Right.
And then we can try the weird shutter thing.
Okay.
Should we just try that?
Yeah.
Because that's like a tighter shot, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's abstract.
Yeah. It's showing it without showing it.
Right. I think that'll work. It's been about a week or so since we shot all the performance shots. We have a rough cut of the music video, if you will, of just the performance shots and some music video effects. So after having that all kind of rough cutted out and laid out on the timeline, we kind of realized that the B-roll that we were initially going to shoot wasn't probably going to match up with the red silhouetted shots.
So for probably like the last hour or so, we've been trying to figure out what to do. Basically, we're just gonna get some artsy abstract stuff. Yeah, so we'll mess around with just the subject just standing there silhouetted and some smoke lingering. Maybe some other weird lens effects, maybe lens whacking, or maybe we'll mess around with the prism actually. That might be kind of
That'd be cool.
For some music videos, what we will like to do is look at the lyrics and see if there's any visual metaphors that we can pull out of this. This song is actually a remixed version of the original song, which is also on Epidemic Sound. And there's not a ton of lyrics in this song, it's mostly just instrumentals, so we figured something abstract would be really cool for this piece. So this is just an example of an abstract piece, but if you're doing this and you're creating a story for this challenge, you can totally do that as well.
Now for the B-roll, all it really was just some abstract shots of me standing there with some smoke lingering. We felt that we wanted to keep the same lighting and all that stuff for the B-roll as we did with the performance shots, especially just for the vibe of the song. You know, it's this kind of gritty rock song, there's a guitar solo, all that stuff. So that's kind of why we went with this really harsh backlight, so we could get the lens flares to match this energetic vibe to the song. Now if I was to do something more mellow or not really as gritty, I probably wouldn't go with this harsh backlight silhouetted thing. I'd probably do something completely different. I might not even do, performance shots. If I had like a lo-fi piece or an indie song, maybe I'd just create some sort of a short film. We did do a little bit of post effects, and we'll talk a little bit about that in just a bit. But before we do that, I figured I could show you guys the video, and then I'll show you some of the effects we did.
I've been in your waters. I know I can for sure. I've never been so close before. It's one way or the other.
Okay, so now that we've seen the music video, let's just talk a little bit about some of the effects that I did. Honestly, all these effects were just using blending modes. For something with a silhouetted type shot, it's definitely easier to mess around with blending modes and trying to get almost like a double exposure type of effect. And the reason is just because there's higher contrast in your image between the brights and the darks. And as basic as I could be with explaining blending modes is it just works with blending either the brighter pixels in the image or the darker pixels in the image, and depending on which blending mode you will select, it will kind of mess with either the darker or the brighter. That's super basic. There's obviously a lot more to it, but that kind of helps. I did a lot of screen blending mode, which kind of works with the brighter pixels in the image, keying out the darker ones. I also did like multiply and darken, which would do the darker pixels, keying out the brighter ones. This one right here, I actually used the difference blending mode. And what I did was I just duplicated the image. I put a horizontal flip on one side so that the faces were facing each other. And then if you mess around with the difference, that kind of has to do with a little bit of an inversion thing. There's 4 options down here that kind of invert the pixels to a degree. I used screen a lot for the film burns just because I wanted to get those brighter flashing lights out of the film burn overlaid onto the image. Nothing too crazy for the effects here, just messing around with the blending mode, seeing what worked and what didn't. I think that kind of worked well with this video, especially because we were trying to go for a little bit more of a gritty filmic look. We did add some film grain into the image. We did use the black pro mist filter while we were shooting, and I did kind of go a little bit further and add a little bit more of a black pro mist filter in post. If you are interested in learning more about that, I could definitely do a whole separate video on that. But basically I just kind of bloomed the highlights a little bit more in post to give it that softer look, if you will. If you are interested in doing the challenge, would love to have you guys join in. If you are going to do it, I just need to let you know that you do need to be 18 years or older. The challenge is just to create a music video using a song from Epidemic Sound. You can only use a song from Epidemic Sound. And also, if you do end up using like any post sound effects, you also have to use those sound effects as well, so there can't be any other third-party stuff. Requirements for the video, obviously, other than using a song from Epidemic Sound and creating a music video, is that you just have it at least 60 seconds. You can definitely go longer. Definitely note that just because you make a longer video, that doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna win. Really, the things that we're gonna be looking for are, something that's really creative, quality of the content, and how well you kind of match the vibe of the video to the song. So that's why a perfect example for this, why we did a performance video for this song, is because that definitely fit the best. We could maybe try and drum up some sort of story, but with the vibe and the energy of the song, that's why we felt like a performance video would fit best. If you're doing something in a different vibe, you might want to not even think about doing a performance video, because you don't have to do performance videos. If you're struggling on figuring out what to do, I recommend you go and check out some of your favorite artists and see what they've done for videos, and maybe you could find a song on Epidemic Sound that matches that vibe and kind of emulate a similar video that you like. Now, if for some reason you don't have Epidemic Sound and you want to get involved in this challenge, well, you still can. You can use a link down in the description below and get a free trial and enter in the challenge. So like I said at the beginning of this video, Epidemic Sound is going to give away some prizes. First place is going to get a 3-month subscription to their commercial plan, and second place will get a 2-month subscription to their commercial plan. I've been using Epidemic Sound since I started making videos on this YouTube channel, and then along the way they released a commercial plan, which I now use for client work to create digital ads, which is just very convenient because not only can I use their music for my YouTube channel, but I can also use it for client work when creating digital and social media content for clients. So I'm very thankful that Epidemic has agreed to do this, because I can give something back to you guys and we can all grow together. Very excited to see what you guys come up with. I think this is a great challenge to not only practice, music video skills, but just filmmaking skills in general. I think that wraps up today's video. Appreciate you guys watching. If you like this video, would appreciate a like, a comment. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Ring the bell so you get notified when we post new videos. And with that said, my name's Bert Cullinane, and we'll see you soon.